Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today I present to you a queen representing the state of North Carolina, Maria Cervantes. Maria's goal as an experienced mortgage loan officer is to explore the many financial options available to you and work together to find the best one. She invites you to check out her website to see what her company is about, Movement Mortgage, has to offer. And as always, please reach out to her anytime via phone or email. She looks forward to hearing from you. She is a licensed real estate mortgage originator in the state of North Carolina. She's a highly trained and educated in the field of mortgages. She will help your dream of owning a home come true. She is committed to providing the most exceptional home buying experience possible. You can get in contact with Maria at maria.cervantes@movement.com or 336-633-9140. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Maria. Hey,
Hi.
Maria.
Hi, Vincent. Thank you for having me.
Nah, thank you. Honor and pleasure having you on the show.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank
for
you.
yep. Maria, what year did you get into mortgages, and what made you want to serve people in the industry?
The year that I got into the mortgage industry was 2014. So going on 10 years now. Absolutely. And the reason why I decided to get into the mortgage industry is because I had been in banking, okay? Banking for about 11, 12 years. And one of the things that I felt like I was in a box, to be honest with you. When I would being bilingual, working with the Hispanic community, I would have clients to reach out to me and be, looking to get a pre approval in place. And working with the industry at the time with the challenges in the bank, it was like a cookie cutter. If your scenario did not fit that box, that was that, right? So, not very many options. So, I was looking to explore more options, more programs, more opportunities that I could offer back to my Latino community and then just the general public overall.
Nice, nice. Do you remember how you got your first client when you got to Movement?
The first client, oh gosh, yes, absolutely yes. It was a client who that was looking for basically 100% financing program. So it was exciting for me because getting into the industry, it's one of those things that you have to educate yourself, right? You have to absolutely educate yourself. You have to know what's out in the community, whether it's state or city related, what programs there are, so that you can be able to help your clients. So my client was looking for 100% financing, and I was like, okay. And I had done some research, so I was semi prepared, but of course, I had a team that was supporting me at the time to help grow my business. So, I mean, it was wonderful. It was such an experience. It was wonderful because, it was a learning opportunity and a fulfilling opportunity, because it was one of those things that the client was able to purchase. It was 100% financing. I mean, it was a family that got a home, not a house, but a home. So it was very rewarding, and I'll never forget that experience.
Wow, it's very fulfilling that you were no handouts out here for the first deal. They really
It
gave
was
you.
like, listen, there was no jumping in. It was like you dive in, okay? You just dive in.
Wow. Has the identity of your client changed since the first one, or do you
Oh
still
yeah,
help your
no,
company?
absolutely. Being a licensed mortgage loan originator, you're going to see it all. You're going to work with different groups, different age groups, different ethnicities, and different, different purposes as well. Because you've got investors, you've got those that are first time home buyers, you've got move up buyers, or the clients that are looking to purchase a second home away from home, right? So it's definitely been a diverse group of individuals that I've had the blessing and opportunity to work with along these last couple of 10 years.
Nice, nice. And Maria, what do you think was a turning point in your career journey? Would you say where your eyes lit up and you're like, "Wow, this is mine. This is for me."
This Yes, yes. That's a very good question. I feel like I've always wanted what I'm doing, in the sense of being able to help and be able to be a resource and guidance to the community. And I feel like for me, after that first client, the experience to be able to say, gosh, we were able to do this, and just to see the excitement, that the family, I mean, to me, that was like, okay, this is so rewarding. This is so fulfilling. As far as like a turning point where I'm like, okay, there's no going back. It's seeing all the opportunities that are out there to serve the community, to provide resources, for home ownership for our clients. Absolutely. So that's been an exciting journey for me.
No, good for you, Maria. Good for you. I cheer you on your journey. Um, what's the most misunderstood thing about you, your industry, or your work? Would you say?
The most misunderstood, it's like I would say there's a couple of things, but I'll tell you my most recent that I think was the most misunderstood. If you keep up with the market, you heard about the most recent rate cut that the Feds executed, right? So I think that everybody, well, not I think, but what I was seeing, what I was getting, I mean, tons of calls from clients that just the general public. So what are your rates today? The Feds cut 0.5%. They're thinking that those are the rates that were reduced, like the consumer mortgage interest rates. So the misconception is that the rate cut actually was directly provided to the consumers immediately. So the misconception is that it wasn't. It wasn't. The rate cut that was implemented by the Feds, that was applied directly to the lending fund rate to the banks. So the banks got that 0.5% rate reduction, and now the banks are going to implement those improvements to the consumers over time. So it was not that, hey, if I quoted you a 6.5 yesterday, today you're going to get a 6% because 0.5% difference. No, 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 no. That 0.5% rate cut was actually, as I said, the Fed rate to the lending entities. So now the lending entities have a lower interest rate, 0.5% lower, which means that now the rates that they're putting out to the consumers, they're going to come with that improvement, and it's going to be a gradual improvement. It's not going to be an immediate 0.5%. It's going to be gradually reduced over time. Yes.
No, 1000%. No, that truly is a big misconception that consumers
That
have.
is it, and it was across the board. Everybody was excited. I mean, it is certainly. Don't get me wrong. It's certainly something to be excited about, but it's definitely not happening overnight. The rate cut, the improvements.
Yeah, 1000%. Do you think consumers have any other misconceptions of buying or selling real estate in 2024?
Yes, I think that, I mean, there's several things. There's several things. Especially if you're working with first-time home buyers. They think that perhaps they have to have a large down payment for to initiate their purchase, and not necessarily. Um, I'm sorry, Vincent. Do you hear a lot of background noise on my side? If you, I will move.
I think you're fine, Maria.
You think so? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, because there's road work on the other side. I decided to step outside, being that it's such a beautiful day. But I'm like, oh, maybe I chose the wrong location.
No, no worries. I still hear
Yes.
you. But,
Okay, good. Wonderful. But yes, so going back to the misconceptions, I think that's probably one of the other most misunderstood, for clients that think, well, gosh, me getting into a house, I have to save up this a whole lot of money, to be able to get in there. And not necessarily, not as you will need a little bit of money saved up because, due diligence and earnest money deposits, which is, what a realtor will explain to the client whenever they're working directly with them. But those are funds that would be required to be placed up front when you're trying to make an offer on a house to take the house off the market. So, having a little bit of money does help the process move along. But do you need thousands and thousands to buy? Not necessarily.
No, you're totally right. You're totally, if people do have that, misconception, you still need 20% to get into a
No,
home.
exactly.
Your first unit, you literally prove you can get in with zero down payment assistance
Exactly.
and hope of closing. You're totally
Exactly.
right on that. If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be and why?
I love that question. I wish I could take education, homeownership education, back to the schools. Yes, to schools like, high school, middle school. I think elementary school level is probably too young, right? But I mean, I think that there are some courses out there, some schools that do offer some sense of understanding, educating, these young individuals, prepare them for the future. But I think it's so vague. It's only like it's just the surface, it's just the surface. I wish I could take this back to maybe like a high school level, because I mean, that's whenever they're getting ready to come out of high school and into college, and perhaps it's still too young, but I feel like during that time frame, their minds are more open, and they have a bit better understanding of, the future, because they're already thinking, well, what am I going to do, where am I going to go, what am I going to study, how am I going to prepare. But specifically a topic of credit, I would love, 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 love to see that more so built into our high school education levels, because credit is so important, especially me being on this side, working with clients on a daily basis and reviewing credit reports. I see all sorts of things, and it's always, it's never the same thing. Every client has a different scenario. Everybody's unique to their own. Okay. But if you have already a basic understanding of what you should be doing to prepare for the future, if your education is giving you that, hey, let's talk about credit, how to better prepare you, how to set you up for success, even if it's just the basic, but more than just the superficial education of it. Be more specific, talk about the trade line, try to talk about the credit bureaus, talk about credit scores and the importance of what is, why it's so important. I think that would be amazing. I mean, I feel like we would have such a big difference overall in, just and mind you, not everybody, I mean, it's like you get to see it all. Okay, we've got all sorts of different credit scores out there, but it's just the basic foundation. Because I get so many clients that say, gosh, if I'd have known this, if I would have known this earlier, I would have done things different. And sometimes things happen when they're out of your control. I mean, things happen, but sometimes just setting that foundation is absolutely crucial. That's in my opinion.
No, super. I think was it the shows like Are You Smarter Than a Third Grader? I want to say like most of America has a financial literacy of a third grader. So bringing up to your point, yeah, teaching financial literacy
Yes.
can help
Yes.
generations for
Yes.
generations to come.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you truly, you bring up a very valid point, Maria, I would say. So we got to talk to our local Congress people. Um, and then have you started implementing AI into your work, or are you thinking about using artificial intelligence in the near
Yes.
future?
Yes, definitely. I think that if you're not using artificial intelligence today, you're going to get left behind. And that's definitely, for anybody looking to grow their business, you absolutely have to. Whether it's, such something so basic as, hey, typing up an email and making sure it's, just all correct, grammatically correct, right? So, making sure you're having that proper presentation, to ensuring that you're reaching out and touching, the groups of individuals that you need to grow your business. So it's important. Absolutely. It's important.
Nice. How else are you implementing it in your work, would you say?
So behind scenes marketing is helping, just to get just more, touching more groups, more reaching more communities, more individuals. Primarily for me, it's been marketing, and then of course, just the leads that I'm working internally, generating, just because kind of like a database to constantly stay in front of them.
That makes total sense. And yeah, being top of mind is like the name of the game.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
It's all marketing almost.
Exactly.
For an originator. And Rick, you don't have to answer this question, but how do you handle criticism or negative feedback about your work if it's ever occurred?
I welcome it. I welcome it. Absolutely. I think that everybody who is working with the general public, you have to be open to that, to the criticism, whether it's positive or negative, because that's only going to help you grow and help you get better at what you are doing today. I mean, I openly welcome it, because if I am not doing something correctly, or should I have done it different way, by all means. I think at the end of the day, it's we listen, we take it, and you grow from it, right? I mean, if I was doing something wrong, or the feedback that I received was negative, I mean, I feel like, okay, maybe in my mind, maybe I was thinking I was doing it correctly, but the way it came out was maybe a different, reception. It came out differently. So, it'll only help me grow. It's only going to help me grow. So I welcome it by all means.
No, yeah, constructive feedback. It does help mold us. But
It does. It does.
I think there's like a law of likability, which says like 25% of the people are gonna love you no matter what you say or do, and there's gonna be 25% of people that don't like you, even if you were perfect for some
Even
reason.
if you were perfect,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then
Yes,
it's the other 50 that you have a chance to influence or persuade.
that is
You
true.
know?
That is true. Those are good numbers.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no, you can't please everybody, but yeah, but the constructive feedback it can go a long way
Exactly.
for the next
Exactly.
client. Who or what inspires or influences you the most in your work in 2024, Maria?
I look up to those loan officers internally within the company that I work with, that are top producers, those that are, I see that are constantly on a database, putting those numbers out there, I mean, I look up to them because, I mean, if they're putting out the numbers, then, there's positive results, right? They are setting the example for the rest of us to follow and want to be like them, want to have their numbers and represent what they're representing, so personally, I there's a couple of in-house loan officers that I look up to, by all means.
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah, this truly is a resulted oriented business.
It is.
So
It
yeah,
is definitely.
yeah, being pragmatic
Yes.
is very imperative. I totally get that. And what's your advice for someone starting out in the industry, Maria? Like what we do today plays out for 3 months from now. So if we're in October, what would be
Yes.
your advice for somebody to maybe have a funded loan before the
Yes.
year ends? And what's your advice for them to really like take off in
Take
2020?
off. Put in the work. Put in the work. I mean, no way around it. You have to educate yourself. Okay. You have to be program diverse. You have to have a different mixture of product knowledge to be able to deliver. Unless you're wanting to maybe just have one niche, right? Be known as a X program specific, guru. Then that's totally okay and nothing wrong with that. But I think if you're starting out, you have to diversify yourself with knowledge, and by all means, have be ready to take those calls. Answer the phone, be available. It's very important that you are accessible, reachable, and will be available to help your realtor referral partners or builders, industry partners that are looking to use your services.
No, you're truly right. Yeah, yeah. Transparency can go a long way in this industry. Um,
Yes.
what's one of the biggest lessons you learned in your career so far up to this point?
The biggest lessons. I feel like in this industry, we learn something new every day, right? I mean, we come across so many different scenarios, but I think for me, the most has been just remain open minded, and just try to take it all in, absorb, and learn from it. Just I can't say that there's just one specific thing, honestly, that has impacted me the most. I think overall is just a day to day putting in the work, and just learning from what's coming to me, and just delivering is very important. So
No, totally not. Long nights and short years. I'm assuming it's been for you at some point. And what do you think is the key to maintaining a work life balance, Maria? And how do you apply it in your life?
so my response is going to be, do as I say, not as I do. I do. One of those things, I mean, is being in the industry, because of the type of work that we do. I mean, the phone's going to ring all the time. It might be, early in the morning. It might be later at night, because, when a client sees a house that they absolutely love and they want to get pre-approved and put in an offer, I mean, time is of the essence. There's urgency. So and if you have a family, and or small kids, or soccer games to go to, or whatever the case may be, you might be getting calls during that time. It's difficult, I know, um, to be able to say, well, hey, I'm only going to set my hours, I'm going to work from 8 to 5. Well, you're kind of restricting yourself at that point, right? But I think overall, be able to separate work from family time. You've got to try to separate it. You've got to set time aside for sure for family, and then of course work, right? I mean, it's not always just about work. I do understand that it's hard. Me personally, I'm still working on that today, Vincent. Because for me, I feel like that phone is always in my hand. And if a call comes in and I can't answer right then and there, what I do is I send a quick text message. I will call you right back. right? So I'm acknowledging the call. For me, that has worked wonders, you know. But I set time aside as soon as, if I'm with family, I'm going to excuse myself and be like, I'll be right back. And it doesn't take me but maybe 1 or 2 minutes to address the call, and then I'm back with family, you know. But I do. I mean, pretty much I am available just about every single day, you know. So, but for those that are looking to get in the industry, you're going to have to set boundaries, and I think your referral partners will understand and will work with that, right? I think that once you set the expectation, that's what they'll respect that. They'll respect that for sure.
No, 1000%. Now, setting the proper expectations
Yes,
is so
exactly.
key.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
and yeah,
important.
and those small details of like just say, hey, I'll get back to you.
Yeah,
It's,
that
it's-
has worked for me. Absolutely, it does, because I'm especially my referral partners that day to day we have a relationship now. It's they I acknowledge their calls. I do, because it's important for them to know that I'm not ignoring them. And if they're calling after hours, it's important. It's because I know that they too have families, right? So if they're reaching out later in the evening, it's because it's something important, something pressing. So it's important to acknowledge their time as well.
1000%, right? And human behavior, it's so funny. If it's like a bar or a consumer,
Hmm.
if you don't acknowledge them, they might make the next phone call
Yeah,
without you even
absolutely.
knowing. So
Yes, just go down the list. Exactly,
it's
exactly.
so interesting. Yeah,
Yes,
so you
yes,
gotta right away just like I'll call you just in a few minutes.
exactly,
That way it gives them
exactly,
that peace of mind.
exactly, exactly. Yes.
Um, what's the most challenging aspect of being in your role in today's world, aside from juggling all that?
I think it's primarily. I mean, it's a couple of things, honestly. I think just inventory is a challenge across the board. You know, Inventory and affordability with the rising rates. So you have to get creative. You
Yeah.
have to get creative, and it's because clients are still looking to buy, but now it's like with the higher rates, that makes it a bit more of a challenge for qualifying purposes. But I think overall, just the challenges of the rates in the market, perhaps it's one of the bigger things. But I think it also that can tend to be a misconception from the perspective of clients wanting to, and this might lead to another kind of topic there, but a misconception of where the rates are today, which tend to be a challenge, but also clients thinking that, gosh, I'm not going to buy because the rates are so high, I'm just going to wait. Well, if you do that, doesn't that create another challenge for you? You're going to wait until the rates drop, and then what happens then? The market is going to get saturated with more buyers, and then that creates more competition for you, right? So now the house that you were looking at that had maybe just one or two and three, including yourself, interested buyers, now it's going to have 20 interested buyers, because now they all are coming back in because of lower interest rates on that same house, and that same house may not be at its going at the same price that you saw it a couple of months ago, because there was not a lot of interest. Now there's a lot of interest, so price on that house could be much higher. So again, it's a challenge across the board, but I think it all boils down to educating the clients, educating the buyer, and the industry, your referral partners, making sure that they all understand the whys and the cost of waiting, if what have you. Hmm.
No, I totally agree with you, Maria. I don't think most consumers realize that the mortgage rate has to be higher than the inflation rate, or
Hmm.
otherwise everything's going to be out of whack
Exactly,
or out of tune
exactly,
almost.
exactly, exactly.
So how do you explain to someone like that, like very eloquently or like very kindly, that the home that they like is better to buy now because they're on average their wage growth is only 2 to 3%.
Hmm.
The home that they like actually goes up 5 to 6 every year on average.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
how do
Yes.
you explain to someone that actually right now is the best time to buy
It,
instead of
yeah, it's just a conversation that has to be had. You give them some estimates, you give them some numbers. If they're a numbers person, they like to see it on paper, then you give them a quote. If you're buying today at this price point on this interest rate, and then also integrate in there appreciation, because if they hold on to the house for a couple of years, even if the rate is at what it is today, in a couple of years when the rates start to drop, And we all hope that we're heading into that direction, correct? And I say years, but I mean could be months, right? um, it's one of those things that I tell clients, you get the house today at the price point that would be accessible to you, even with the higher interest rate. And after as early as 6 months, after 6 monthly payments that you've made on your mortgage, you can refinance if it makes sense. That's not going to be your forever interest rate. If that's the house that you love, get the house. Know that the interest rate is temporary.
No, 1,000%, 1,000%. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I guess yeah, catering to your audience and how they
Mhm.
like to learn or
Exactly.
visualize it
Exactly. I think as soon as that is presented to the client and they see the bigger picture, it makes sense to them. Hmm.
yeah, seeing the bigger picture. That's literally the
Yes.
key word right there. And what are your personal goals or your career goals for these next 5 to 10 years, Maria?
I would love to continue to grow in my presence in the market. Just with the clients that I work with, continue to serve and offer value to those clients that I'm touching on a daily basis, and my referral partners. So just maintain my presence and serve as the existing relationships, and hopefully grow connections.
Nice, nice. Do you want to grow a team, or you just want to help as many families as you can?
So I currently have a team. Well, a team that works with me, not necessarily like loan officers, to where your question is probably more so posed, would I ever be interested in being like a branch manager and having like a team under me? The question for me right now, personally, the answer is no. I love what I do. And I feel like once I take myself out of that loan officer role where I'm in a day-to-day communicating with clients, with my referral partners, I feel like once I take myself out of that to grow a team, then I'm no longer connecting with my clients the way what I enjoy to do today. Eventually, perhaps in a couple of years, I think that I will eventually look at something like that, where I would maybe just pass on my database to a team, right, to my team that I decide to grow at that point. But right now, I do have a junior loan officer, and I have a processor, and I have another assistant that kind of all work together. And for me, I feel like that's been the perfect group or team model that has worked for me. Hmm.
No, no, totally, totally. Yeah, no, no. A good processor can really take a load off the work, and then you
Yes.
just be like the poster child of just
There you
bringing
go.
in new business. To be
Exactly. I'm
honest,
only as good as my teammates behind me. Exactly. So,
yeah, yeah,
if my team behind me is not processing, is not supporting, is not delivering, then that's going to show on my results. Mhm.
yeah. That is true
So it's
too.
very important. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Having a team is almost a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Um, what's one piece of advice you wish you had received early in your career that could have really been a catalyst or changed your whole trajectory? You think?
Mm, one piece of advice. Well, I would imagine that, when I came from the banking industry, because I was in the banking industry for about 11 years, what I learned there is not what I learned here. And that's simply because, like product and program diversity, So, I mean, I think that had I been told, hey, from the get go, dive into understanding underwriting guidelines, and just the income, and just how to underwrite, basically for me that has been like a game changer, because once you understand, you truly know. So it is a mixture of things. I mean, from product knowledge, from understanding guidelines, because it's not just black or white. It's always so many more details behind it, right? I mean, so no, it's not just one thing. I think that is just more so maybe just understanding and knowing that you're really going to have to grow and learn, and really really learn, not just like superficially, so that you can be good at what you're doing. Because it's very easy to make mistakes, misunderstand a guideline, and maybe start putting out the incorrect information. You can think that you have a client pre-qualified. If you don't really understand the pre-approval scenario, from an underwriting perspective or qualifying perspective, you could be delivering in a letter that's not eligible for lending.
You're totally right. Playing within the rules is like
Yes.
it's part of the game almost. And then those guidelines can change as the seasons change too. So
On
like being up
day to
being up
day,
to date
you
is
have to
really
stay on top of it. Absolutely. It's continuing education all the time. Yes.
yeah, never stop
Mhm.
learning, always
Yes.
being a sponge. Marie, have you ever been like watching TV or like driving or perhaps on your phone and just like ponder, like, maybe if I wasn't in real estate, I could maybe crush it at this. Like, what's another career you think you could excel at?
That is very interesting. I honestly didn't think much about that question simply because I'm just like, well, I don't know. I mean, I love what I do, and I feel like if I didn't do what I was doing, perhaps I would maybe just step down from this role, but stay within the industry. hmm Whether it was, like something on a processing side or assisting another loan officer, because truly the industry, I mean, it's so much. There's every single day is something different, so it's like it keeps you entertained, it keeps you going, it keeps you enthused, as your interest. Me personally, it keeps me interested on a daily basis, so I feel like if I wasn't generating, I would want to be behind scenes somehow, somewhere.
All right, no, fair
Yes.
enough, fair enough.
Mhm.
No, really, no, really, you seem like you're very, you have a giver's game mentality almost.
I like the idea of the servant leader, uh, servant. What is it? The words that I'm looking for? Servant attitude, basically. Serving others.
No, no, congrats, I applaud
Hmm.
you. And
Well,
wow, we really went through these questions super fast. I only have two more for you.
okay.
Super grateful of you sharing your time with me today.
Sure.
Um, as you know, when I get older, there's a chance I rewatch this. What's a life message you want to leave with me?
Life message. Oh gosh. Pursue your goals. Pursue your desires. Don't give up. Don't think that it's, gosh, I think I'm probably too late coming in. No, no. This is always the right time, as long as you're prepared and you gear up, you know, and feel like, hey, I'm going to take the bull by the horns. Jump in. No, no, don't jump in. Dive in. Okay. Like be prepared, but dive in. Where they say feet first or head first. In this case, head first, if it's one of those things. Yes. Personally, I mean, I actually have gotten some, just from friends or family, even clients that have mentioned, oh, I wish I would have done this earlier. I feel like it's no, like it's never too late. It's never too late. As long as you still have the interest and the desire and you're equipped and you're willing to put in the work, jump in. Absolutely.
I appreciate that, Maria. I really do.
Yes.
And yeah, my final question to you is, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through your work when it's all said and done?
Yes. I want to be remembered for what I do, that I've set a positive experience, or perhaps, a role model to somebody that looks up to, because they see my name, or they see me serving, they see me helping, they see me executing, that they would be like, gosh, what she does, I would love to do. You know, I think that for myself is just leaving a good impression, making a good impression on anybody that's looking my way, basically.
Of course, not. You're helping families build generational wealth to
Yes.
come. And I'm
Yes.
well, just curious, like when you got in, like were there like a lot of Latina loan officers compared to there right now, like or has it exploded?
I think it has grown over time. I think it has. I think that can be a very tricky industry. There was along the path there, as when I joined, there was other loan officers that had joined the company, and or other, known companies, and I would see them be part, like become licensed loan officers, but then after some time, maybe they would just, I would hear of them going to like a bank or a different entity, but not so with mortgages. So I would wonder, well, what was it? What was it that they didn't like, or what was it that challenged them so much that they decided this is not for me? I think that it is a challenging industry. It is definitely, it's trying. There is a lot to learn, and you have to invest the time. But I think that more so recently, because of the the millennials and our Hispanic community growing, and our minority groups, the focus in lending to our minority groups is growing. I feel like we're going to see more loan officers, maybe Latinos get in, and maybe more so from other industries, or not industries, but ethnicities as well. And I love it. I love it because what better than there to be a good group of people, large pool of individuals that are bilingual and can serve in a different language, and deliver home ownership to minority groups, across the board, across the states. That would be wonderful. Absolutely.
No, totally. I think they say by 2035, like in 10 years, 65% of the home ownership are going to be Latino based.
It is.
Oh,
It is. Definitely it is.
It's definitely on the rise. It's definitely on the rise. And yeah, and these real, I think like I don't know what I do not know the numbers for loan officers to be transparent. But I know for realtors it's like 68% of the people don't make after year one, and then 95% of realtors don't make after 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, this although this can be a lucrative industry, it's not.
It is. It's a challenging industry. It really is. Like I said, you definitely have to put the work into it, and the time overall, and be consistent. Be consistent. Keep showing up.
Yeah. So yeah. What was it? Showing up is like 80% of the battle. So you're totally right.
Exactly.
And yeah, Maria, how do you like people reaching out to you?
Phone calls, emails, text messages. I'm okay. I welcome them all. Absolutely. I'm available.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from a queen from North Carolina, Maria Cervantes. Maria, thank you so much for sharing your time with me today on a holiday. Truly means a lot. And can you stay on the call for 1 or 2 more minutes, please?
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Until next time.